Why are we here? Students, faculty, freedom fighters, patriots, pro-choicers, anti-mandate, anti-government overreach, freedom-loving Canadians. We are here today for a specific purpose. We are here because we have lost our voice. We no longer have a say. We no longer get to decide how we live our lives, what we put in our bodies, or what is best for us. We are gathered here because the government has taken away our right to voice our opinion and the ability to tell our side of the story. We are here to regain that voice. We are here because your life matters. You matter, your voice matters, and your future matters. We as students are the future, and we are here to tell them that we are free and we want to keep our country free. We are not anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, or anti-science. We are pro-choice, pro-informed consent, pro-freedom, and pro-human rights. We want our right to education, and we wholeheartedly disagree with a society that segregates people based on their medical decisions and preferences. A vaccine passport is a violation of our privacy, our human rights, our charter rights, our freedom to choose, and is fundamentally unconstitutional and un-Canadian. We deserve to go to school to pursue our dreams without being discriminated against by our own government and educational institutes. The government came for the restaurant owners, the gym owners, travelers, places of worship, pastors, small and medium-sized businesses, government workers, frontline workers, any political opposition and dissent, and now they're coming after the students, the children, the future. Anyone who will say no to their unconstitutional, draconian, communistic, socialistic, fascist, medical tyranny. Anyone strong enough and courageous enough to not be bullied into submission. We all know the saying, give an inch and they take a mile. We gave up that inch over a year ago when we first complied. It's just 2 weeks, it's just to flatten the curve. It's just a mask, it's just 6 feet. It's just non-essential businesses, it's just places of worship. It's just till the vaccine rollout, it's just a vaccine passport. It's just for travel, it's just until cases go down. It's just to keep you safe. It's never only just with tyrants. Now we can either let them take the rest of that mile and put us under the boot of tyranny, or we can climb out, fight, and stop this tyranny. But it starts with you, with what you're willing to sacrifice for the sake of freedom. You know what the past generation was willing to give? Their lives, their blood, so that we, the future, may experience that precious and yet fragile freedom. So what are you willing to do, to give up for the sake of liberty? Are you willing to pay the price, get arrested, get your business shut down, lose your job, get arrested, receive a fine, risk your education? What are you willing to lose so that freedom may remain? Freedom must be demanded. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed. Martin Luther King Jr. The Canadian government has decided that anyone who will not bend the knee will be met with cruelty and injustice, intolerance and oppression. And where we once had the freedom to object, to think and speak as we saw fit, we now have censors, thought police, and systems of surveillance and policing, coercing our conformity and soliciting our submission. We let this happen. We now have the choice to fight back, demand our rights back, or submit to tyranny and let them steal our right to education. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. Albert Einstein. Not only did the government lie to us, but the universities lied to us. They explicitly told us that vaccinations would not be mandatory and that we would have the freedom to choose. Now, a few months later, they are telling us that if we don't comply, we will be disenrolled and kicked out of our programs, our degrees that we worked so hard for. This is unjust and inhumane. Why can't the university just let us continue with the rapid test program? If this is about science, why can't we find common ground and reach a reasonable solution that doesn't involve discriminating against your own students? We want to work with the universities and find a solution that we can all agree on so that we may continue our education. But they're showing us that they do not wish to work with us. They want to bully us into submission. Do as you're told or else. This is the most important and crucial period of our lives. We get to decide if we as university students will allow the government, society, and the educational institutions to discriminate against us and treat us like some substrata class of society. We are all equal and deserve to be treated as so. In the preamble to Canada's Constitution, it states, "Whereas Canada is founded upon the principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law. The rule of law includes equal treatment under the law and protection from discriminatory treatment, which is enshrined in our Constitution, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The Alberta motto is strong and free, and our national anthem states us as the true north, strong and free. But how can we be free if we no longer have a say in the most basic aspects of our lives, like our health and our bodies? These arbitrary, overreaching, grossly disproportionate mandates infringe our constitutionally protected charter rights and freedoms. We claim that these draconian rules and mandates are not demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society and do not adhere to the principles of fundamental justice. Therefore, they are not a reasonable infringement of our charter rights. We are here because we believe we deserve to have our say, and we deserve to keep our freedom. We are here to exercise our Charter Section 2B, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, as well as Section 2C, freedom of peaceful assembly, while we still can. We are here today to give you a platform so that you may be heard, to feel like you're not alone, to give you a voice and the ability to share your opinions. To show your government, your educational institutes, and the public that what is being forced on you is fundamentally wrong and immoral. This event was not set up by any one person, but rather is a joint student endeavor organized by the students of post-secondary institutions in Calgary. Today is about you. We will have speeches, and we will go for a walk around the campus. We have some great speakers today. John Carpe, the president of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. Artur Pawlowski, the pastor who stood up to the government and was punished with arrests, the courts, and fines. Dr. Joanne Liu, a traditional natural medicine doctor. And several patriotic students who each have a story and a reason for not being able to or not wanting to take the vaccine and accept the vaccine passport that segregates and discriminates against free Canadians. Our first speaker is a student here. His name is Darren, so please give him a warm welcome.
Hello, my name is Darren. I'm a part-time massage therapy student at MRU. I am here today to tell MRU and the community why I will not take the experimental injection. Our president, Tim Raheli, and MRU have not asked us why we will not take the jab. Tim and MRU were once upon a time very big on students' mental health. As the slogan goes, you belong here. But does that apply to students who value the choice of what we want to put in our body without punishment? I have a very long story of dealing with corruption in infectious disease Calgary. I will try to sum it up in a few minutes. It's not COVID, but it has many similarities. Go back to 1995. I was in the 9th grade. I was a regular healthy kid. We were taken into our gym one day and given the MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, rubella. This vax was brand new on the market. I was sick for days after. It was like I got acid reflux overnight. The MMR vax is believed by some schools of thought to be in part for huge spikes in autism over the past few decades. Remember this name. A scientist, William Thompson of the CDC, blew the whistle on these vaccines leading to autism-like characteristics in children. He admits he was complicit in this cover-up. I do not know what was in this vaccine, but I know it changed everything and it affected my immunity. I was given acid-reducing medication and I was put on anxiety medication for 5 years later. During my 20s, I lived a typical party dude kind of lifestyle, and I used alcohol and medications to get by. I knew something more was going on. Fast forward around 10 years later, I was 28 and I slowly made diet and lifestyle changes. Got off the medications I was on, and in my body's natural state, I discovered I had severe fatigue and widespread pain all over the body, and many other symptoms. Eventually, my naturopath and MD concluded I was dealing with a symptom that we call fibromyalgia, a mysterious illness with no known cause. Fast forward 10 years later, I learned to live with fibro, or chronic fatigue as it's also called, and treating it with natural medicines and an anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle. It never felt right to me that this condition affected so many people, 2 to 4% of the population, yet they did not know the cause. Some of my friends mentioned Lyme disease could mimic fibro. I heard this before, but did not want to hear it. Fast forward another 10 years later. I was halfway into my program at MRU, and I got tested by a doctor in Canada. As I expected, I was negative for Lyme. Yet $700 later, with student loan money, I saw a Lyme literate naturopath and was positive for Lyme disease in Germany at the world's best testing lab. This explained all my symptoms of this mysterious illness. Canada follows the CDC guidelines for testing. The ELISA Western blot test was created in 1994 and is still used to this day. I was tested on the C6, which is very much a similar test and is believed to be flawed by Lyme literate medical doctors and naturopaths. Many of us can be exposed to Lyme disease, and it's not just ticks that can infect you. It can be mosquitoes, fleas, and lice. It all depends on our immune system if you're exposed. So I saw an infectious disease doctor, and they termed my German test invalid, and I don't have Lyme disease, and denies me treatment. It is not the doctor's fault, but the system that trains him in making the regulations. One sec here. In a letter from Infectious Disease Calgary, they tell me, and this is good. At the end of 2019 tick season, there has never been a case of Lyme disease that was adjudicated to have been acquired in Alberta. All reported cases are acquired in other locations. This is from the former head of infectious disease in Calgary. In addition, they go on to say that 0.7% of ticks that are submitted carry Lyme disease. I would like you to tell that to any of the thousands of Canadians and Albertans living in Alberta with Lyme disease, that less than 1% of ticks carry Lyme disease. They go on to say there has never been a proven case of Lyme disease to be acquired in Alberta, yet Lyme disease is diagnosed in Alberta every year. It gets worse than that. The infectious disease doctor at Rocky View Hospital goes on to clear me to donate blood. Yes, according to Lyme literate doctors and Lyme literate naturopaths, there is one Lyme literate doctor at South Calgary Health Campus, we will call him Dr. H for now, that is trained, one in all of Calgary, that knows how to treat with antibiotics. It's too late for antibiotics for me. So the letter goes, to whom it may concern at the request of Darren, specifically he has requested that I comment on his suitability for blood donation in the context of questionable Lyme disease diagnosis. I have seen him in our infectious disease clinics for the same. Based on clinical and serological assessment, he does not have Lyme disease. He has no restrictions for blood donation as far as Borrelia infection goes. Of course, he should still undergo appropriate screening for bloodborne pathogens as per Canadian Blood Services. So I've seen two of the biggest Lyme naturopaths in Calgary. They both have patients that feel they have got Lyme disease from blood transfusions. These are the same infectious disease doctors we hear every day, and it's not their fault. It's the people that make the regulations. I would like to ask any of the police officers over here, if they can hear me, if they feel comfortable accepting my blood. Do your children feel comfortable accepting my blood? Do you believe me and the people living in Alberta, in Canada with Lyme disease that test positive in Germany yet negative in Canada? Do you believe that our blood banks are tainted or not? Do you feel safe accepting my blood? This is outright criminal, and this goes on throughout the world because Lyme disease is not screened throughout the world. The only way you're ever going to get not screening is if they see a tick bite and you're on antibiotics for 6 weeks. This is similar to the denial of safe and effective early treatments of COVID with ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc and antigraphis. That is not going on at our hospitals. It is not the unvaccinated's fault that the people that make the regulations are not treating COVID patients properly. I'm in a long-term, very expensive herbal treatment. It is far too late for antibiotics, as I've said before. My body does not detox and clear chemicals like a normal person, so it is very important what I put into my body. This injection is far too risky for me, and I will not be forced to take it. Certain treatments like Rife Machine and ozone therapy, remember, bringing disinfectant into your blood. You ever hear that before? And a lot of, I am basically in a chess match every day of boosting the immune system, killing the bugs, and reducing inflammation. So I have to be very careful what I put into my body. This is one guy's story for not jabbing. I do not think I have any better reason to not jab as a healthy young person that may be in great health, because they might want to keep it that way and do not trust his agenda as I don't. I say to the students, it is time to stand strong as ever, because we really are in this together. And MRU, I will not give in to coercion, bullying, or fear, vaxxed or unvaxxed. We sure as hell all belong here. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Joni Liu, and I am a doctor of real medicine, Chinese medicine. I got them by several thousands of years. Anyways, thank you very much for the organizers for inviting me to speak. I know what it's like to be alone. Back in March 2020, I was wondering what is happening here. And for months and months, not until late August 2020 did I finally find my tribe. So I know what it's like to be alone. And I was a very angry person, and because of that, I am now estranged from my son because we disagree. "5,000 years ago, something happened." So I want to talk about what happened 5,000 years ago to bring us to this point. Then we will talk about what it means to you. And then I will talk about what you need to do going forward. Over 5,000 years ago, mankind was naturally free, and we respected each other. We respected nature. We all lived together in some kind of harmony. I mean, there were still disagreements. Life was still throwing challenges at you, at your ancestors. But we could still work them out. We had leaders. We had few leaders, elders, wise people. Not the gigantic hierarchies that we have today. So we could solve our problems much more easily. So 5,000 years ago, what happened? Reading and writing was invented. So some people said, "Oh, I know how to read and write. I'm better than you are." And that was the beginning of discrimination and inequality, servitude and slavery. 3,000 years ago, religion was formally created and formalized. So that was another movement. And again, it was about, I'm smarter than you are. I need to interpret this for you because you're too stupid to understand. But of course, it did not turn everybody into our enemy, because we have people like Pastor Archer who loves his people. So, what does that mean to you? These two movements created that inequality. It created a very deeply embedded false set of beliefs about us, that there are the few who are superior and the majority are inferior. We were made to believe something that is not true. And because we have that deep-seated feeling every time they tell us to do something and we don't do it because it's not true, we feel guilt and we feel shame. This is how they have made the majority of people follow them like sheep. But the thing is that your ancestors survived war, brutal behavior, beatings, rape, all the worst things that frighten people, and they survived. And they survived because you are here. So guess what? You carry those genes. You carry those genes of toughness and of truth. You know what your inner strength is all about. You know what your inner being is all about. You know what the truth is. And that's why you're standing here right now. Even if you're over there afraid to come over. You wanted to know. You wanted to know the truth. Well, we're speaking the truth right now. So the third point, what does this mean for you going forward? You have to take care of yourself. Your immune system is greatly affected by what you think. Where are we getting those negative thoughts? Social media is a huge vehicle of negativity, even in groups that are supposed to be filled with like-minded people. They are often very negative and they bring people down. I don't go into them very often because they spread a lot of bullshit too.
Tell us, Joni.
So, if there's 500 posts and I haven't been there for a few days, I just go skip right down to the bottom because it's not useful. And I go in there and I say my truth and I tell people exactly what I'm telling you right now. I ignore all the bullshit. That's my new word from 2020 because I never used to swear like this, okay?
Welcome to the dark side.
So protect yourself from all the bullshit that's going on. Unfortunately, it's coming from our families, from our former friends, but you're the strong ones. So when things are getting you down, you have to take the time to look after yourself. Go outside, get fresh air and sunshine just like this. Go for a walk. It's very therapeutic. And you will feel better. Right now you're with a lot of like-minded people. They are your friends. Introduce yourself. Don't be shy. You need a new set of friends. I have a new set of friends. I know who my real friends are now. It is so amazing.